Yo, peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. What's good? What's good? This is Isaac George Mosquito. Adjust my chair a little bit here. This is Isaac George Mosquito coming back to you live on I Stand and Rises Creation. I ain't really had nothing really scripted or organized to like actually really talk about anything. Let me see. Let me get this lighting together. Uh I just had forethought because I'm looking like I was checking on my phone. The algorithm was going crazy, um, of course, as a newly um, podcaster, or if you want to say, I of course I'm getting a lot of my, should I say, inspiration or experience off of watching other, because I enjoy watching a lot of stuff on YouTube, a lot of stuff online, and of course, you open up that phone as soon as you open up your phone. And I was through. I went through the whole ordeal with the whole Drake Kendrick situation. I can elaborate some on that. I um I of course I remember being home. I was off of work. But it was for a couple. It was maybe for like a good month or so. I was off work because I was actually sick. I was going through it, and of course, I think it was throughout that whole. Let me just say May, June, that whole period where we started to see a whole rap renaissance happen, and a lot of people didn't know about the rift between Drake and Kendrick at the time. They didn't know that actually that beef stemmed from all the way around the 2010, around that time. It could have been a little later, it could have been a little earlier, but it stemmed around that time. They was going through their whole back and forth with each other, and of course we fast forward to today. The beef the beef started really heating up and became this whole classical thing um, since around like May around that time. So I mean, I'm saying all this to say, like, you open up that phone and you really see, like, yo, that algorithm, like, nothing but Drake and Kendrick. Well, shout outs to the Rap Roundtable. Shout outs to so many other podcasts platforms that really touch on this. I like some I don't really care for. Some make good talking points to some things, and then you have some that have the titles, which is really very misleading. I don't like to like really do the whole bait and catch thing, where I want people to engage with me by just telling an absolute lie. And then I don't even touch on whatever the topic is or the title is even is about. Like, for instance, if I'm sitting here telling you about my life story, and then you tap on the video and then you don't hear much about my life story, all you just hear is just me just making references to other people's story. I might go into it a little bit, but then it's like energy is everything. If you don't if you don't resonate with it, like if it's like, oh, this doesn't seem genuine, this doesn't seem authentic, then you're kind of like, okay, well, I don't know if this is this guy's actual life story. Some people kind of like sort of will take it as he doesn't seem like the guy that that has done all of that, and things can be very misleading. But that's neither here nor there. What I'm expounding on is that I've checked out a lot of content all over social media, like whether it's shared from TikTok, whether it's shared from whatever other platform, YouTube for that matter. I gotta shout out YouTube. I'm on YouTube right now. Hey, you know what I mean? Like I'm here. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I was actually excited to I was actually excited for that whole run when that happened. And man, could I have been in on that whole cashing in at the time with the Drake Kendrick situation. But I can very much tell you that the Drake Kendrick thing has exceeded my interest. Why? Because we all know, and for all you Drake stands out there that's just more on some, or that's just can't quite um, accept the fact that Drake lost the beat. He lost the beef. Kendrick won, and we know in many ways why he won the beef. He won that beef because he just came with something more witty. It was a lyrical free for all between the two. I think that this is the most I ever heard Drake rapping. I don't put him in the top tier category as the most top tier lyricist at all. Don't listen to Drake like that. I can't really fathom listening to him. I'm not going to ever take my time to listen to Drake at all. The first time I was told about Drake was probably like early in the 2000s or something like that. I'll say maybe like around 2008 when I guess he signed with Young Money. I'm not even sure when was the first year he even signed with them. But anyway, Drake, his music over time, I do have two of his mixtapes that when he first came out with. Like that's all I really own of Drake's. It's those two first mixtapes. Forgot the name of them. I think one is called So Far Gone, something like that. Then the other one is the Comeback Season or something. But that's all I own of Drake's. And when I first heard those two records, I was really not that highly impressed because like his style, I just couldn't get with it. I couldn't get with Drake's style. I just, to me, I'm more of a boom bap lyricist, hip hop, hard flows. You know what I'm saying? Bust your shit open beats. As I hear Busta Rhymes will say, I like when he says "bust your shit open beats." Some reason I just love that phrase. Like, yeah, that's the kind of hip hop head that I am. I mean, I'm 42 years old. I mean, I'm not going to be into this emo-ish stuff, even though like I'm the big fan of Kid Cudi. But I think Kid Cudi just has something there that like I think most people will agree is very melodic. I mean, it's a vibe to his music other than Drake. I mean, some people there's a lot of people that I do know that rock with Drake. I'm just not one of them. He does something for you. He doesn't just do anything really for me. And I'm guilty. I'm going to raise my hand up high. I am a K Dot fan. Yes, I am. Why? Because well, let's see. I followed Kendrick Lamar when he was K Dot. I first heard about Kendrick Lamar, and here's the thing: I was really surprised at this. I was surprised at this. I first heard about Kendrick Lamar on, I think when the game came out with a mixtape with the Black Wall Street. I forgot what the name of the mixtape. I may still have the mixtape, but it was him and his Black Wall Street cats. Y'all boy Cicero. I think J Rock was a part of Black Wall Street. It was a few people. And I heard this one cut, this one joint. It had K Dot on it. And actually, when I heard K Dot's part, I'm like, yo, who the hell is this dude? Like, he sounds all right. He sounds nice. At the time, it didn't just like really, like, he didn't grow on me until like I've listened to K Dot a lot more. I think he was on something else. something else too. But he really was carrying that song. It was a joint. I think it was like a freestyle or something. He was carrying the whole joint because he was like really like he was getting it in on that joint. And then he, like I said, he was K Dot at the time. So I guess K Dot turned into Kendrick Lamar. I mean, I first heard about K Dot. I first heard about Kendrick Lamar when he was K Dot. I didn't really hear more of him until like he dropped Section 80. Section 80 was an incredible project. That's when I really became a fan. I'm like, yo, this dude is something special. He was special then when he was on the Black Wall Street joint, but he was special on the Section 80 joint. I think it was Section .80.8, or the title goes some kind of way. Section .80 or something like that. Section 80, yeah. But Kendrick Lamar. This is when we entered into Kendrick Lamar. Of course, he had a lot of mixtapes before then. But, I mean, like I said, you would have to be a Compton native. You would have to be really from where he's from to, like, really know about his homegrown music. I come to know about K Dot, like I said, by, like, going to the nearest record store. I think at the time I lived at, I was here in Philadelphia. I was here in the city, and I would frequent to let me see, because it was I'm trying to figure out if it was a lot earlier than that, when because I know Game was coming out with the doctor. He was between The Documentary and The Doctor's Advocate at the time, and he was already signed with 50. Or I think this might have been before he signed with 50. But it was this whole big thing around the Game at the time, because Game was like the next up from the West Coast. So it was almost like, yo, we're going to witness a renaissance with this new West Coast lyricist, or so to speak. That's what we thought it was that he was like the next up or whatever. Which in fact, it was all in the makings of him actually being the next up. That of course did happen. Like I said, around that early time, that's when I heard about Kendrick. When he was rolling with the Game at the time. Game was signed with Aftermath and G Unit. I'm not sure if this was right around the time he disbanded from G Unit, and he was still with Aftermath at the time. But he dropped a line of mixtapes. I think the mixtape was also brought to you by New Jersey Devil. That was who, because New Jersey Devil was like, he was a big mixtape dude. It was him, Coachy, couple street mixtape guys. They were actually dropping like what was almost seemingly like full length albums / mixtapes. The Black Wall Street was like supposedly the introduction to who the Game was bringing under his wing. And he had one Philly cat that was on there. His name was Cicero. And y'all boy was from over there in the West Coast. It was a whole host of other people. I know J-Rock was like one of the members, and which is funny because J-Rock was like the first breakout star out of TDE. Didn't know much about TDE until I heard Kendrick Lamar's first record, which I consider to be his first record, even though others would say that Overly Dedicated was. But Section 80 was the record that I actually heard Kendrick all over. And like I said, it was an incredible record. I listened to it front to back, almost like every joint on it. Because you really listen to an album. You really listen to an album straight through. And then you make your you have your own discernment whether or not it's it's if it's skippable or whatnot. But anyway, first heard K Dot off that incredible record, and then that just led me into. I mean, surprisingly enough, I didn't even hear about this spat between him and Drake. I just never heard it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess Drake was real good at dropping subliminals. Like, and I didn't even know that they even formed even a friendship. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that they even collaborated or was making an attempt to. And then that's when the song Poetic Justice came to life. So I just didn't even know, these things were happening. All I could just remember is that when Drake first came on the scene, I was not impressed with Drake's style. And no bullshit. I'm not saying this because, because I'm on this platform. I'm saying this because this was for real. I was not really feeling Drake's whole style when he first came out. Somebody handed me the CD. I was at I was at a major strip in the city where, you could find anybody selling whatever. And like I said, a best friend of mine, he had like books. He had like a stand. He was like, yo, you gotta know about this Drake dude. You ain't hear about him, blah, blah, blah. Cause I guess he thought, I'm into anything that's new or up and coming. So I guess he felt like, okay, let me put him on to this new and up and coming rapper per se. He handed me the CD, and this is the first thing I said. Who the fuck is a Drake? Like, who is this dude? Excuse my language, but who is this guy? I'm like, I guess I give it a listen. I took the CD because he gave it to me, just like he gave me the second record. Like I said, it was his mixtape. Like I got him. I mean, I could maybe show him, but there's no need. I actually do have the 2 records still, and that's all I have of Drake's. Like I don't really have any of his albums. I don't really listen to him. Like I said, what I was listening to on those 2 joints wasn't really impressive to me. And I guess for a good reason why I didn't latch on to this Drake is because who would think that from him making those projects and now with a roll of all his music that he's been dropping back to back, it's like he's makes the same stuff. Drake makes the same kind of music. Kendrick Lamar, like I was really taken aback by such records like Ronald Reagan era, Cartoons in Syria, even though that wasn't on Section 80. I was taken aback by it was another record that was highly impressive that I loved to his. That was on Section 82. I guess if I can pull it, I'll pull it up soon. But these records were highly impressive. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see. I mean, if I knew at the time, I could have done the comparisons between the 2, and I would have really wiped the floor of a lot of people. Because, like I said, I'm a big lyricist guy. I love lyrics. I love people that have introspective. They have a cadence with their bars and stuff like that, and they really give us something. So this is actually a good segue into what I was about to say. That it's not that I'm giving Drake pointers on anything, because I mean him as where he's at this point, does he even really need pointers? But if you ask me, if I was behind Drake and I was to like tell him, like, in order to get the listeners to really, respect you and to and to accept you back into the fold, I think that you should do something that's unexpected of you. And what do I mean by that? Like, do something that cats don't really know you for. I mean, really wouldn't expect from it. Because you doing all of this stuff, you're doing all of it, you're doing the same type of stuff. Like, I just, again, here we go with when we pull stuff from the internet. Like, I Google, Google like has right front and center. They have Drake with a snippet of Lil Durk. And yes, I heard all that 100 gig stuff. While some of it might sound like the beats anyway, because it's always with beats. Like, I get a vibe with the beats. I don't care who, like, if to me the person is not impressive to me, I don't care if they're rapping over a nice beat. I'm gonna like the beat over liking their lyrics, because they're just not doing it for me. Drake is just not somebody that does it for me. That's just me. I mean, to each their own. I went through several like arguments and conversations with so many people, from friends to associates to co-workers, about these things, and their main thing is that they want to convince me that Drake is a dope rapper, which I beg to differ. I think that singing is more of his best quality than rapping. To be honest with you, I think singing is his best quality. And if we're talking about his best quality, yeah, like the singing for one is his best quality in my opinion. I'm trying to pull up that it was a track on here. Like I said, here it go. I think it was called Rigor Mortis. That was the Kendrick Lamar song that I'm talking about. Rigor Mortis was the Kendrick Lamar song. That is a dope fucking track. Like, just hands down. He's, I'm not gonna play anything. I'm not gonna play no music. High Power was another. But that was an incredible record. So it just to me makes a lot of sense that Kendrick's cadence and his delivery, his flow, suits well with me than Drake. Because, like, I mean, sure. I mean, I wasn't the type that always in and out of the club and in and out of bars either. So for me, it was just, I'm just like an average guy, you know what I mean? I love everything from art and culture, and love to smoke weed and just relax and be in my peace a lot more, and enjoy more of my alone time. And I'm the type of guy that likes to take a long walk down the block with my headphones blaring, with with my favorite music, and just reminisce, and just really observe what's all around me, be in tune with nature. I'm that kind of guy. I'm that kind of guy that likes to listen to the boom bap and get inspired by all of the decay that's in that's all around me. Get a more of a feel and vibe of the city. But that's the kind of dude I am. Have my headphones blaring, Gangstar album or something like that, or something from Group Home album, or just simply Most Def and Tyler Quali's Black Star album, and just get inspiration off of that, and then maybe even stop somewhere in the park or something, and jot some lyrics down and get inspired that way. That's the kind of guy I am. I'm not the kind of guy that's in and out of the clubs. That's all about, the money making, thing and all that stuff like that. I just wasn't, about all of that. It was just more of me being, I'm that Nas type of dude. I'm a big Nas head. if most people don't know. I don't think that I ever divulged that to anybody. But I'm a very big Nas head. I can show you, man, I can show you my whole Nas collection. I probably got every Nas album imaginable. But that's just where I'm at with it. Like, I'm just that type of dude. Like, I reminisce over hip hop, the stuff that matters, the stuff that I can get with. I did a what was it like? It was I won't say it's a few days ago. I believe it was maybe last week, maybe where I did well, it was last week actually. It was last week. I did a whole album listening of my man from the city 215 from here, Del P, and I did his, I did a review of his album, and I gave my pure and honest review on it. Like, the album takes me back to a time where I loved hip hop so much that everything around me I just shut out. I shut down. Like, I stopped everything I did, and I made it my business. And this is how it was as if you want to say I was a loner kid, because all there was to me was all there was to me in my life at the time, and this is probably around even high school, was that I'll take my trips to the comic book store. Like while I'm downtown, I'll take a trip downtown to the comic book store. I'll go to the record store, get my favorite music, come home. But on my way home, I'm stopping in the Chinese joint, get me my favorite dish. And this is probably a Friday or Saturday. And then I go right on home. And I rock out, shut my door, my room, and listen to my music and eat my Chinese food and watch my favorite movie or whatever on television. That's the kind of day that I would have. Now, whether I'm in a record store, I would find stuff like anything from the grassroots, because if we talk about Canadian hip hop, I knew about the grassroots. I knew about Cardinal Official. I knew about Socrates. I knew about Chaclair, RC and Schism, the Ghetto Concepts. I can go on and on and on. Julie Black. That's to me, that was kind of. There's a lot more artists, but that was Canadian's finest right there. So for me, again, segueing into like Del P's album, it gave me the feeling, that nostalgic feeling, that I love hip hop. That's what his record did for me. It put me back in, like I said this, I literally said this in the review. It put me back in love with hip hop again. I'm 42 years old, but it puts me right back in love with hip hop. Hearing projects like that, because he definitely has something to say on that record. He has a lot to say on that record. Y'all got to go cop that record, by the way. Del P, I Can't Make This Up, off of Bandcamp. All you got to do is go to Bandcamp, www.bandcamp.com, and go straight to that Bandcamp. Go straight there. Punch in the search engine, Del, DELL hyphen P, and all his projects will come up. And by the way, if y'all want to too, y'all can grab all of his music. Grab all of Del P's music. But by all means, y'all need to grab his new album. I Can't Make This Up. Del P told me that there are, because there was a few faux pas that I need to clear up. That the one, I don't know if this was only the one track that I made had a faux pas, but it's one of the few. That record was produced by Donny Boy. So I don't know if that was two tracks that was produced by Donny Boy, or it might have been that record that was produced by Donnie Boy. So I might have made a mistake on that. But I told Del P I'm going to clear that up. One of the few, that song off of I Can't Make This Up, is the one track that's produced by Donnie Boy. Now, I'm saying all this to say that this is a great segue to what I'm saying about falling in love with hip hop, because that's what happened when Kendrick Lamar dropped "To Pimp a Butterfly," when he dropped that album. And like I said, I was even sitting here reminiscing to myself and saying that there's not one Drake record, because of course I know about Drake's catalog. I know about his whole catalog, but I just don't have any of his records. I don't own his records because I'm just not a Drake fan. I'm not the Drake fan. I'm not the ideal Drake fan. I can't really get with Drake. I mean, and it's by good reasoning why I can't, because maybe because his flow, I'm just not really getting it. His music don't seem genuine or authentic to me. I mean, he says a lot of hard shit, whatever, but that's just it. He just says a lot of fly or hard stuff, but it's like, okay, if I knew Drake like how I don't know. I'm not going to say I know him personally, but I actually knew about Drake from this show called Degrassi. Who didn't know Drake from the show called Degrassi High? And it was said that he had a bit of his acting chops while at the time he was, I guess, helping out his mother. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff out there that are great talking points. People create these videos over all these talking points surrounding around Drake and his early days, him coming up and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, well, I didn't know that, just like I didn't know a lot of things about what was going on with Kendrick. But I'm still saying all this to say that one artist resonates with me while the other artists just don't have the aesthetic that I'm looking for. And to segue again into talking about how there should just be, like, artists should just do something that's unexpected. I'm just saying, not the same usual stuff that you're used to. This is probably why Drake. Drake is going to be loved by a certain. He's going to be loved by those who just love Drake. They're going to accept whatever Drake does, and then maybe they're not even hearing, oh, this dude got so much allegations, so much weird stuff that he's doing, but they're not even caring about none of that, which is wild to me. That's just the same as Trumpsters, but we're not going that direction. I'm just pointing out that when someone is doing something, or like with this whole melee that happened between Drake and Kendrick, there were things that Kendrick pointed out that some Drake stands were like baffled by. But even if those things were being said, it's not like they're grasping on that, because it's almost like, I don't care, like, what's out there. Drake is still my guy, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, wow, you support, weird stuff. You support people, yeah, like, you, especially if we come up with findings that the stuff is true. We don't know if these things are true. But some things happen or they surface, and then it's like, oh, here we go. So the truth of the matter is that this did happen. So now that's just like the R. Kelly effect. R. Kelly did what he did, but there was still people. I think Boondocks, that was one of my favorite series. The Boondocks even touched on that, and it was a funny episode. It was like the whole R. Kelly effect. Even though R. Kelly was up for, what was that? What was it? What was it called? Pedophilia, child molestation. Like he was up on a whole lot of charges. He was messing with young girls, basically. But yet still, here's the R. Kelly effect again. Well, I'm gonna still listen to his music because I still love R. Kelly. And then you had a lot of females that just couldn't break away from the art. They couldn't break away from R. Kelly. They just could not break away from him. You know what I mean? Like that's probably all the same. I'll be hearing it'd be weird stuff out there about Tank. I don't know if y'all know about the R&B artist named Tank. And I'm not to go into the direction of spilling tea and all that. That's not the direction I'm trying to go with this. I'm just more so saying that when we hear about an artist doing certain stuff, it's like almost like, wow, y'all just really are not really paying attention to what's really being said and what's being done here. And you got to thank Cat Williams for that because, again, I think he set the tone for this whole year with people like putting out the truth. He set the tone for that. But then Kendrick on the hip hop side of things, he said, you know what, I'm going to go in on this man. You know what I'm saying? You mentioned my wife and kids. Now I'm going to go in on him. And he did just that. That's why he won the war of words. Because a lot of what he was saying resonated with people. It resonated with a lot of people. And he probably, to me, Kendrick's exchange in this whole thing, it wasn't his best. Because if I actually did a lot of the reaction videos at the time, if I did those reaction videos, I would have really gave my honest opinion because I was really engaged with this whole Drake thing. I was engaged with it. I was like, man, this is exciting. Yeah, this is so exciting, man. I love this. I mean, I'm sick in everything. I'm sick in all that. You know what I mean? And I'm sitting here, you know what I'm saying? Hardly couldn't even move. And then I'm like so engaged in this whole exchange. I'm like, man, this is exciting. So I'm sitting there saying to myself, like, yo, this is exciting for hip hop. We need this. I think that, I'm a Kendrick guy. Me and my man Dell, we was even, chopping it up a few times about this whole thing. And then I was like so engaged with this thing that I would have gave my honest opinion about this whole exchange. To be honest with you, I would have gave my whole honest opinion about it. I would have honestly had said that some like Euphoria, 616 in LA, they were dope concept records. Like he really, as far as beat instrumentation, he really came with a clever comeback or snapback, if you will. He really came with something clever. It was really unexpected how Kendrick, because he was just people were so eager to hear what Kendrick was going to come with, or what his clapback was going to be, that they were like, wow, this is unexpected. I didn't expect Kendrick Lamar to hit us with with something so mellow and vibe. Like he was literally talking to him. He was like really talking to him. He wasn't like running down on him. He was walking down on him and saying like, all right, this is, I'm going to slowly, like strip away at you. Kendrick Lamar did just that. He stripped away at it. Then it came time to where Meet the Grams. Because 616 in LA, it wasn't as scathing as a diss. It wasn't. The beat was hard as shit though. But it wasn't scathing. It wasn't the scathing diss. Meet the Grams was really where we was going to get into the mean and scary side of Kendrick. I think that if he didn't drop Not Like Us, he would have dropped the mean record. But at this point, Meet the Grams already did what it did. It really knocked Drake out of the park. I don't care what Drake came with. Drake could have came with the Family Matters record. He came with the Heart Part 6. And both of those records did not do what it was supposed to do. And that's where, we finally seen Drake lost his battle. So my thing is now, let's fast forward to right now. What's going on? Drake's trying to pull. He wants to pull a call and response rematch type of situation. He wants a part 2. I think that's more of the platform. I think that's more of the social media, like really putting that out there. I don't know if that's for sure. I don't know why Drake is doing the 100 gigs thing. I'm not really getting all of that. But because like I said, I mean, if you follow Drake, you probably know why he's doing what he's doing. But to me personally, I think like with all these calls in response to what Kendrick has already said, it's already said and done already. So there's really no need to drop little clues here and there that you and Kendrick was cool with each other and that he was going to be featured on something. I mean, it was some stuff that I caught on to. And then there was a record. Then there's rumors that there is one of his records is a diss, or he's getting ready to throw out a whole line of shots at Kendrick again, which at this point is almost like Drake, just quit the whole rapping thing all around. Quit the whole rapping thing. Stick to doing house music or go back to the singing. Go back to that. Actually get more into the acting. Like, stop trying to convince us that you hard. Stop trying to get, like ease up a little bit. I mean, we really don't know behind the curtain like what's really going on with all of that and why he's doing what he's doing. But however, when you're an artist that's making music, I guess you want to continue to create, even if it's the same monotonous stuff, even if it's not that great. There's some stuff out there with Kendrick, like unreleased stuff that I'm not really that I'm not really that hype about either. I'm not hype about the stuff that he's doing. And I'm like, well, Kendrick already given us a lot of classic joints. So like hearing the unreleased stuff is kind of sort of like, okay, I can understand why, he probably left this record off this album. He probably left this because maybe he has so much stuff up top. He has so much stuff in the bag that he just literally already put it out there. See, Kendrick already was putting his stuff out there. Now, I don't know who leaked Kendrick's music. We're never sure about these things, who leaked, who did whatever, because it's the whole wide world of social media. At this point, you could be all over the place. Pictures, music, any type of content could be all over the place at this point. And it's like you never know, like through subscribers or users who are doing what. All we just know that you have some people that are like you have a lot of content that's just being put out there, and we can never have any idea like how that stuff is being put out. All we just know is that when the stuff is being put out there, it's for good measure that is being put out there because we are looking forward to more of their music. I know I'm looking forward to the next. I can speak for every K Dot fan when I say I'm looking forward to Kendrick Lamar's next new album. I actually am. Kendrick Lamar should definitely not stop at Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers, which is an amazing record, by the way. But I think he should continue on. And this is my segue into what I was going to say about this too. It would be sick that if Kendrick dropped an album produced by Dr. Dre, The Alchemist, and Hit Boy. Y'all ain't think I was going to say that. I mean, I think that that's what he actually should do. He should drop an album produced by mainly of all West Coast. I mean, you could throw a DJ Mustard beat in there if you want. I mean, shoot. While we at it, I mean, why not? DJ Mustard, of course. Could throw DJ Mustard in there. He could produce another radio friendly cut. Why not? And I'm trying to think of other West Coast beat producers that you could throw out there that can be on Kendrick's latest album. Soundwave, of course, is his frequent collaborator that he collaborates with. Of course, him and Dave Free, they have their PG Lang imprint. So I mean, it would be interesting to see what comes out of PG Lang next. Even though what I do know about Kendrick is that he is getting a little bit into his acting chops. So that's probably the reason why he's not really focused so much on music, even though we don't know. Because sometimes when someone is quiet, someone is out of the way. When they're out of the way, they're not seen for days. They're just really in isolation. You don't hear nothing. You don't see anything about what they're doing. I mean, if he's dropping subtle hints like we coming or whatever, off of some other type of burner account or something, when you see stuff like that, then usually when artists are in hiding, when artists are isolated, when artists are quiet, you don't hear from them for months and days. That's only because they are working on music. I'm telling you. Tupac has done it plenty of times. I think Tupac, though, the difference with him was that he was an active dude. Tupac was very active. He was really active. It didn't really matter if he was on tour. It didn't matter whether he was on tour, whether he was on his way to the club to throw up some bands or whatever. Tupac was always making it his business to, in between the club or in between tour dates or whatever, he would have to drop in the studio somewhere. That's why he has so many records that he had. Even though Tupac is not up there as one of my top tier or one of my favorite artists, but he was a very hardworking rapper. He was a very hardworking dude. I'm not going to reduce him down to a rapper, but he was a hardworking guy. He always worked on music. That was his forte. He always worked on music. There was never a day where Tupac was never working on music. That's why he cranked out so many records that he put out, because he was always working on stuff. There's a lot of unreleased stuff with Tupac even today that we don't even know about. I can bet, because Tupac was just one of those people that always worked on music. So when an artist usually go in hiding the way that they do, it's either because they're working on other stuff. They definitely got a lot of other stuff that they're definitely getting out the way and working hard at. But they definitely are working on music. So that's all I'm gonna put out there. Like, I mean, don't take if this ever gets anywhere, if this video ever gets anywhere, don't take it from me. I'm not close to Kendrick Lamar. I don't know his people. I'm not connected to anybody that he knows or nothing. That's just one of my speculations. That an artist usually when they're in isolation of the way that they are, they're working on something. They're working on music, especially. If you're a music artist, you just are not going to take a hiatus away from music. Something is going to click. Something is going to inspire you to want to get back into doing music. Something is going to inspire you. Believe it. Music artists never stop working on their music. I mean, that's just me. I mean, that's my take on it. I think music artists just never stop working unless of course you got some kind of bug of sorts. You have a artist bug, but you know what I mean. But I think that artists don't stop making music. Now, I mean, that could be the factor with Kendrick. Maybe I mean, look again. I don't know. I don't know this for sure. All I'm just saying is that when usually an artist is in isolation the way that they are, the way that they are, they're working on something. And more than likely, if you're a music artist, you're working on music because you're not taking all this time to be isolated away from the industry, away from all your friends and associates and such and such and such. And then you're just not working on music. Because I know that with the PG Lang thing, he's got other things that he wants to embark on. But music is like the first thing. And besides, Kendrick Lamar has come this far where he could do just about anything he wanted to do. That's the same thing with Drake. I mean, you know, whether you like the guy or not, these guys have come this far to do whatever the hell they want to do. But I just think that one person is more about the culture than the other. And that's just me. And that's probably speaking like a true Kendrick fan. I mean, one person's music resonates better than the other person. You can really hear it literally in the music of what the music even sounds like. It does sound like this is music for the culture. Go back and listen to Pimp a Butterfly because I didn't really understand why when J. Cole was dissing Kendrick, why he said what he said. It was like, okay, you saying that this album was okay. I forget what the line was, whatever. All of that went out the window when he apologized. But anyway, you know, you was like critiquing Kendrick Lamar's music as if his music was okay, it was all right. But then when you go to listen to Kendrick Lamar's music, you'll come to find that he has some of the best musical compositions that so to speak. Like, I mean, you listen to Pimp a Butterfly. That's an incredible record. Who's going to say otherwise? Well, of course, there are people that's going to say otherwise, but it's like, why even say that about a record that's well put together like the Pimp a Butterfly? It's just like weird. It's like trying to critique Rhapsody's whole catalog. Rhapsody, in my opinion, is one of the toughest and best female MCs to date. And I said to date, but as far as this generation, she has one of the best catalogs that you never heard. But yet still, Rhapsody is up there in my top 10 because she just gets busy like that. She's one of those artists that puts emphasis on her music. You go listen to her catalog, you will be truly amazed at the stuff that she put out. And why is she not being on the top of everybody's list? Why are we talking about Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B, Glorilla, all these other artists? Why are we talking about it? When we got Rhapsody, who is like the epitome of MC Lyte Lauryn Hill mixed in, and she has a delivery that's incredible. Her last record is a dope record. But why are we not talking about raps? Beats me, right? It's always the ones that does true, authentic shit that get overshadowed. I don't know why. It's a trend. It's been a trend. It's been a trend for years. Such artists like Sky Zoo being overlooked. Such artists like Torre. Man, there's so many dope cats that I can throw out there that's just top tier. We want to talk about top tier. I mean, people are doing, people are talking about Big Sean. Oh, Detroit, yeah, he came off that Eminem record. But to me, Big Sean is not top tier of anything. To me, he's not top tier. Out of Detroit, no. If you put out names like John Connor and Guilty Simpson, Ty Ferris, I can go on and on and on. Elzai from Slum Village. Cats who are not named Eminem has been getting busy for years in Detroit. Top tier lyricists. Philadelphia, where I'm from. Top tier lyricists. I've already said this to my man Del P plenty of times. He's up there in my top 5, top 10. Matter of fact, who I put at the top of the food chain right now, as far as Philadelphia is concerned, Black Thought, Del P. Yeah, I said it. I mean, there's plenty of other cats I can name, but I'm just saying. As far as my favorite lyricists out of Philly, if I don't listen to nobody else, it's them two right there. But if we're talking about lyricists, we're talking about lyricists, top tier, whatever. You really put things, you really put things out there, and your music resonates more with the culture. And you can usually tell. Because if you're an artist like Drake, you put out the same monotonous stuff. And it doesn't really speak about or really even resonate with anything that says hip hop. I guarantee you can listen to any of these records that Drake put out, and I can guarantee you that there's not really anything that resonates with you that's speaking more about the culture. And why is that? That's only because an artist like Drake is not really going to be in his cultural bag. He's so far away from the culture and the music that he's already put out. That's just it with Drake. That's just what he knows how to do. Kendrick Lamar, on the other hand, he's just one of those dudes you gotta really pay attention to. Because I'm telling you, as I'm doing this video, and I mentioned that there should be an album produced, a Kendrick Lamar album produced by Dr. Dre, The Alchemist, Hit Boy, and anybody else that you want to put in that sentence or right in there somewhere. You want whoever's name you want to fit in there. I'm telling you, Kendrick Lamar might surprise the hell out of us and do an album like that. Just because we know when it comes to hip hop music, when it comes to his music, period, he's just going to give us something that's unexpected. Kendrick Lamar, the type of artist that he is, he's going to give us something that's unexpected. He just might as well give us something like that. And we're going to appreciate it. But all right. That took a lot out of me. Because I could sit here all day and talk about Drake and Kendrick Lamar, but everybody else is talking about it. Is talking about them too. I don't need to, add on any more about that. I just want to talk about whatever it is there is to talk about. Now, there's a lot of other artists and other stuff that we are coming to expect from a lot of music that we're coming to expect from some of our favorite artists. And I know that being a big Wu-Tang head, I would love to hear Wu-Tang over Premier. That's what I would love to hear. I would love to hear finally hear a Wu Tang record over DJ Premier. I would love to hear that. I'm serious. I'm serious. I would love to hear Wu Tang over DJ Premier. Real talk. Why it never happened is beyond me. And the only two Wu Tang Dart Smiths that I heard over Premier, and I might be wrong on this, but the only two that I've actually clearly heard over DJ Premier was Method Man and Inspector Deck, actually. So those were the two artists that I actually heard over some Premier. And they sound sharp as hell on Premier shit. I'm not sure if Raekwon, did anything over Premier or even if Ghostface did. I know Ghostface rocked over some MF Doom before. I know that I've heard Raekwon over some Jay Dilla, and I've heard him over Dre before. I've heard him over some Dre shit. I did hear Raekwon over Infinite Architects, Mike and Trauma D. I don't think y'all know who the Infinite Architects are, but y'all need to y'all need to actually listen to Raekwon's Immobilarity album. That album really showcases the Infinite Architects when they was rocking all over Raekwon's stuff. Mike and Trauma D from the Infinite Architect. Haven't heard stuff from them in a long time. I thought that they were, some of my favorite like beatsmiths and shit. But just like Motif Alumni, he's another one I like. But some of these guys, they just come out the woodwork. You just hear about them. They come out with some of they best material, and then you don't hear much else from them again. But yeah, Premier, Wu Tang over Premier. How would that record sound? That would sound amazing. We already heard Nas all over Premier shit before. We've heard, of course, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we heard AZ over Premier. I don't know if I have ever heard AZ over Premier or Cormega, because these are some of my favorite my favorite lyricists. But yes, definitely Wu Tang over DJ Premier. I would love to hear a record with the Wu Tang over DJ. I mean, you could even throw ODB, or you could throw YDB in there too. Throw him in there, or have ODB with the hook, and then you bring in YDB. That shit would be by far amazing. But no Wu Tang album. No Wu Tang album. A Wu Tang album have to have RZA, Fourth Disciple, True Master, DJ Mathematics, and even Bronze Nazareth. And I know, and I'm gonna tell you why Bronze Nazareth. Bronze Nazareth is the new face. He became an unofficial member of the Wu Elements, but because Bronze Nazareth's beats fit so perfectly with the Wu Tang sound. He's an incredible dude. Shout outs to Bronze Nazareth from Detroit. Bronze Nazareth. Again, here we go with Detroit again. Bronze Nazareth is one of my favorite beatsmiths out the game. Hands down. If we're talking about someone carrying a Wu-Tang album, Bronze Nazareth is my guy. But I don't know what RZA is doing. But RZA, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think RZA's getting back into form. He's getting back into what he loves to do. I hope so. Don't explore too much with new sounds at all. Just stick with the raw and gritty kung fu style. I want these dudes to sound as hungry as they sounded on 36 Chambers. Hell, even the Wu-Tang Forever record. You could even call the next record Wu-Tang Forever Part 2. I would greatly appreciate it. I just know that we are in for something incredible if the Wu-Tang decides to drop another album. I've been looking forward to that. I have been looking forward to it. I want that to happen. That's me. I'm such a big hip hop enthusiast that, man, certain things I wanted to go a certain way that I wanted to go. Not not Wu-Tang rocking over Swiss Beats, Timberland, and all that. No. Even though I love Kanye when he did that joint for Ghostface, that joint called No Face, I actually thought that was an incredible. I thought that was well put together. And Kanye West does have some dope ass beats. Don't get it twisted. But I don't. Let's take a back seat on Wu-Tang rocking over anybody else. I wouldn't mind hearing Wu-Tang over Jay Dilla. I wouldn't mind hearing that. I wouldn't mind hearing Wu-Tang over Alchemist. I wouldn't mind hearing Wu-Tang over Havoc. Havoc from Mobb Deep. There's a couple people I wouldn't mind hearing Wu-Tang over. But let's just stick with the raw and grittiness that we come to know about the Wu-Tang Clan. And that's just my fantasy. That's just my fantasy thought as far as the Wu-Tang Clan. But definitely want to hear a Primo beat. I want to hear Wu-Tang over a Primo beat. Definitely. Man, that needs to really happen. That needs to really, really happen. Seriously. That needs to happen. That's one of the things where it just really needs to happen, for real. Just like I want Kendrick over Dre, Alchemist, and Hit Boy, I want Wu-Tang over Premier. Straight up. It's crazy how we got Griselda over Premier, but we didn't get Wu-Tang over Premier. That's crazy. And I think that, yes, Griselda is a very talented trio. Absolutely. Very talented trio. But, the non-member team of the Wu is star-studded when it comes to really shining. The last time we heard the Wu really shine and went worldwide with this shit was when they dropped the record Triumph. When they dropped Triumph, that was like a whole Wu renaissance. That was like a whole explosion worldwide. I mean, every time you hear that record, you just go crazy. I know the last Wu-Tang concert that I was at, I was with my man Brett, a homie of mine who I went to high school with. And we, I think it was a joint, it was a joint concert with them and Nas. And and I think the Wu-Tang, of course, Wu-Tang and Nas rocked on the stage together, but Wu-Tang had their whole set. I think this was over there in Camden. I forget the name of the venue, but this was over at Camden. And me and him, we was over there. I think they had it in the open field, like they had the stage, and then all in the backdrop. It was like all standing room. I mean, because it was like literally outside actually, and it was dope, dope venue. And man, that Triumph record, when they dropped that Triumph record, because I think even when they played at the Borgata, again, me and my homie Brett went to that in AC. It was probably, I want to say it was last year when we went to, because that was like the other Wu-Tang concert. That was literally the Wu-Tang themselves, and we went to that concert. And every time Triumph played, whether the DJ was playing it on his set, or if they even performed the record was incredible. Like, to hear that beat, the Triumph beat, it was like being in a hall of amazement. I don't know how to even articulate that right now, but it was like just being in an orchestra, like just being in Mozart's fucking den or something. That's how the Triumph beat when that shit dropped. It was like being in Beethoven or Mozart's den or something, and just hearing his music like as he's playing it, and you're just so astounded by the sonic wizardry. That's literally where I'm going at with when it comes to hip hop music. The feeling. The feeling. Because we could even go there with the Nas records. All of King's Disease, all of Magic albums, all of that whole six album run. It brought me back to when I loved hip hop again. Same thing with Del P's album. It brought me back to loving hip hop again. There's a couple records out there where it brings me back to loving hip hop again. There's a lot of other stuff that I didn't even, mention. Hearing Griselda's records. The Griselda record, because they only got one. They got that one, WWCD. That record. Hearing that record. What Machine Gun do? Hearing that record. Hearing Conway the Machine's album. Hearing Benny the Butcher's album. Hearing West Side Gun's catalog. All bring you back to why you love hip hop again. That's the thing. Rhapsody stuff. Hearing her records. Hearing Rhapsody's records. Her newest record. Hearing that record. What's the name of her record? Wait a minute. And look, I'm if I don't know something, if I forget something, it's always good that I can go back. I can look it up. It's always good that I can look it up. It's always good that I can look it up. Rhapsody's new album. We got Rhapsody's new album, Please Don't Cry. That's the name of the record. The name of the record is called Please Don't Cry. Wow. That album almost made me cry. Because actually she did pour a lot of her soul into this record. She did do a lot of that. She told a lot of truth with this album. I think she gave us a lot of that. A lot more of her. That's why I was even insisting on my wife listening to the record. Not because she's just a woman. She's incredible as a femc. Like, come on now. I think all women of all ages should listen to Rhapsody. They really should. They should listen to somebody of her caliber because she is what the game needs. That's what I'm saying. Her album will make you fall in love with hip hop again. It's just incredible to know that there is just records out there that still exist. There's records out here that still exist, but we're not giving it much shine because we are with the same monotonous stuff. It's like the same stuff over and over again. It's like, okay, if it ain't Megan Thee Stallion or Cardi B or Glorilla, I mean, I don't even want to say or really mention these names because they get mentioned a lot. But it's like, okay, enough. The game is what's missing, and what's needed is the artist that I've already mentioned before. Between Griselda, Rhapsody, and artists like Kendrick Lamar, Ab-Soul. I'm going to go there and say Ab-Soul, man. Y'all got to listen to Ab-Soul. There's a lot of artists out there. Y'all got to listen to independent artists like Aaron Shakur from Camden, New Jersey, by way of Philadelphia. Y'all got to listen to guys like I Know Brasco. Yikes. Oh, man, I can go on and on. The whole 215 UFO squad. Del P's Wordsmith. Forever Tailor Made. Son of the 215. Man, there's so many artists that, like with the last video, I even shouted out. If you want to go to my last video, where I shout out all the artists that I've caught on the showcase. I mentioned on the showcase before. A lot of incredible talent that's all around us. A lot of up and coming incredible talent that we should really be focused more on supporting. We should support independent. We should support independent artists. We should definitely support artists like that. I think it just should be in our best interest to support great artists like that. Because it's these artists that gives us better music than a lot of these cats right now. A lot of all these industry, like a lot of that shit. You know, you want to try to push the envelope on stuff and try to dare to be different and doing all this other stuff, and it really comes out sounding weird or looking weird or whatever the case. And then it's like, okay, you lost me. Because now I'm not really even impressed on what you're even doing because it doesn't resonate with me. And that, I mean, look, if you like it, that's on you. I mean, it's okay if it don't resonate with me. It's probably doing something different for you. But it's like, okay, we sitting here, we are overlooking artists that really need to be pushed, that should be pushed. The game doesn't need another violent act of any kind. It doesn't need secularism and ratchetness and all that. Like we getting enough of that right now. We're getting enough of that. We should really be focusing on putting out the positive messages out there and making people fall in love again with hip hop. Not getting into all this booty shaking stuff and all that. I mean, all of this mess that's not contributing positively to the culture. Let's be honest here. All of that secular stuff is not contributing to the culture as we would love for it to do. It's not contributing to the culture. We heard enough of we heard enough of all that already. We need something else. We need to get back to hip hop that couples with the jazz theme. I think we need to get more back into that type of aesthetic. Tribe Called Quest, they did it perfectly with the jazz theme stuff. And there was a lot of other artists that followed after that too. De La Souls, the whole native tongue movement, the Roots. Shout outs to the Roots, man. Come on, man. You're the love of my life. Love of my life, man. That's a record right there that just will have. That's a record that made me fall very much in love with hip hop again. There we go again. That's a record that made me fall deeply in love with hip hop again. I already can tell you about Illmatic. That made me definitely fall in love with hip hop. Black Star, Tyler Kweli, and Mos Def. Mos Def and Tyler Kweli's record on Black Star, the Black Star joint. That made me fall ultimately in love with hip hop. Common's early work made me fall greatly in love with hip hop. The B album and Finding Forever made me fall greatly, like Water for Chocolate, made me fall greatly in love with hip hop again. Man, so many records I can freaking tell you that made me fall in love with hip hop again. Because these were just records that are timeless. Like I said, I can mention Things Fall Apart. I definitely gotta mention Illadelph Half-Life. I can't go nowhere until I mention that record. Those are records that made me fall in love with hip hop again. Gang Starr, Full Clip album, Mass Appeal album. Those are records that made me fall in love with hip hop again. Man. 36 Chambers, of course. Wu-Tang Forever. Did I mention these records already? Of course I did. Records that made me fall in love with hip hop again. Iron Man made me fall in love with hip hop again. Only Built for Cuban Links made me fall in love with hip hop again. And when I say made me fall in love with hip hop, because within those pockets of those times, when Only Built for Cuban Links came out in 1995, Illmatic came out, 1994. Hip hop started at the helm of the late 70s into the early 80s. So when I say made me fall in love with hip hop again, the Low End Theory, Beats, Rhymes of Life, the Midnight Marauders, Public Enemy's records. So when I say it made me fall in love with hip hop again, now we're coming into the 90s. The 80s, I already was hooked on hip hop music when I was glued to the television. I was glued to the television when Rakim's record, when any of Rakim's records, like he put out a lot of videos too, and all of his records came on television. And when I say I was glued to the television, I was literally sitting close to the television, dancing to Rakim's stuff. Like when did he come out with these records? I think around 88. So I probably was like 7 or 8, somewhere around that. Didn't really know much about hip hop music, but I knew about Rakim and Eric B and Rakim. I actually didn't even know nothing about Eric B and Rakim. I just was like so amazed by his music that it just had me dancing. Like I'm a little kid. And that was my early taste of hip hop music until I got a little older, probably like 10, 11, 12, and got hooked on to Public Enemy, Ice Cube, NWA. My uncle was playing Public Enemy. Did I mention Public Enemy already? He was playing me all those records, LL Cool J, all that stuff. And that's when I got to know about LL and all of them. Ice Cube, Eazy-E, NWA. I got my taste of, we talking about, this is the 90s now. This is 1990, 1991. I got my taste of more hip hop. Because mind you, I was born 1982, so I got my taste of hip hop with Rakim. Anything else that I didn't know about earlier, I knew about Big Daddy Kane, of course. I'm not gonna sit here and say I didn't know about Big Daddy Kane or Kool G Rap, Slick Rick, Dougie Fresh and Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie album, the Lottie Dottie song. Of course, I know about all that, the show and all that. I know about all them records, Special Ed. Of course, I know about all that stuff. My eyes was glued. I think at the time it was Rap City. Rap City came out, the OMTV Raps, all that. That's when I was really glued and hooked onto like some of the earliest hip hop stuff. Of course, I know about Naughty by Nature, OPP. You down with OPP? I remember, my days in Southwest Philadelphia, up and down the block. We shouting that out. You down with OPP? Yeah, you know me. You down with we was up and down our block, like singing that stuff. Criss Cross, when Jump came out, that was probably one of my favorite tracks. I love that song. I still love that song to this day. I'm not gonna hold you. Yeah, some people thought Criss Cross was corny. I actually loved that Criss Cross Jump record. I actually loved it. It's probably one of my favorite records. I knew about the Youngsters, but I guess I wasn't really into the hardcore stuff because I guess that stuff wasn't being played as much. And besides, like, we wasn't playing it as much, but, my uncle would put me on to some stuff. He would put me on this. I don't think he put me on to the Youngsters. But, of course, a little later on, I would do my homework on what else was out there. And, of course, if you watching Rap City, because how I got hooked on the hip-hop music was watching Rap City. when BET came out with Rap City, and then I was checking out the box. It was another channel called The Box or something. Man, this is so back in the day, man. The box because it was there was a channel where it was playing nonstop videos. They were playing nonstop videos, and that's how I got my taste of hip hop. I learned about hip hop by literally watching Rap City, Yo MTV Raps. What was that? The Box. I believe it was like a lot of other, circuit. There was a lot of other stuff out there. And that's how I got my taste of hip hop. That's how I knew about Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, Poor Righteous Teachers. The list goes on and the list goes on. The Fugees, whatever. And I was living in Jamaica at one point. I was there even at one point too. I was between here and Jamaica. And I would even literally watch Rap City all day because I ain't really had nothing to do at times, even when I was down there. I would watch Rap City all day and write down all of the artists and their music. So I knew about Boot Camp Click. I knew about Smith and Wesson. The original Gun Clappers, OGC. I knew about so many, man. Lost Boys. Oh my God, Cellar Dwellers. Oh man, the Artifacts, Boogie Monsters. There were so many artists, man, that I discovered, man, earlier on that it was like, man, this was just incredible. This is really incredible. This is how I got my palette. This is how I knew about like other hip hop artists. The Wu-Tang came around, like of course I was immediately hooked. Just like how my uncle was hooked on NWA and Public Enemy. Like how he was hooked on them. How he was such a big LL Cool J fan. I was a big Nas and Wu-Tang Clan fan. That's how I got my taste of hip hop. I got my taste of hip hop off of that. Off of listening, like just watching all of these things. I will watch all of this stuff, man. And I just got my taste of hip hop music. I just got my taste of it. That's hip hop, man. That's hip hop. It makes you fall in love with it. It makes you fall in love again. Because some of your favorite artists, man, when they're putting out material, man, you can greatly appreciate it because it just puts you in a certain mood, puts you in a certain area in your life where you can just appreciate things again. Like I said, we can't get those times back, but just like those records, just like records like did I even mention Lauryn Hill's album that made me fall in love with hip hop again? Just like records like, and I can only mention, well, I'm going to mention this one record because I think this one record resonates with a lot of us hip hop lovers. Love of My Life by The Roots. It's like the official ode to hip hop. It started right here in hip. It came right from here in Philadelphia. The ode to hip hop, Love of My Life. Real talk. It just made you fall in love and appreciate hip hop all over again with records like that. A mere mentioning of that record, at times, could put a tear in my eye because of just how incredible and how memorable that record was. It just has me in a nostalgic. It's like you could just create. It ain't you're not creating a story. You have the stories behind that. behind this music that came out. You can tell about you can reminisce about all the incredible stories. You can reminisce about what you did at that time. I remember when this record came out. Oh man, I was hanging out at such and such and hanging out at the Black Lily and and there's some staples that we often forgot about here in Philly that people was rocking at and playing at and stuff like that. It's just, man, it's pivotal, man. It's pivotal. Such records like these that put you in such a time when you was just appreciating hip hop in all its essence. There's so many records that, man, I would be all day mentioning that I had the pleasure of listening to. There's stuff, man, that just, if you mention these records, I'll have a big smile on my face because that's just what hip hop music, real hip hop that is, has done for me. And being at the age that I am at now, I can definitely appreciate now. I appreciate the then, but I appreciate now, living for the now. Because records like that, you just don't. It's like you can't duplicate stuff like that. But what you can do is just take the pleasure of just listening to those records again and appreciate where those records are, how far they've came, and where they can take you in the near future. This is hip hop, baby. This is what it is. It's a beautiful thing. Hip hop is a beautiful thing. So that's my time, man. Like I mean, there's no much more to expound on. We came this far. We already know the Drake Kendrick thing is often talked about right now. But I went so far away from all of that because, again, you just got to go right back in time to when you first fell in love with hip hop and how far you came and where you are at today. And how does hip hop music make you feel even today? Real talk. How does it make you feel even today? And if you have the same feeling when even your favorite artist puts out another record, or what comes along is one of these dope independent artists that deserves all the flowers, and they come out with an incredible project, and it makes you fall in love with hip hop all over again. And that's what it's all about, because that's what it's been about. It's been about up and coming artists, independent artists, artists that do this shit from the muscle, that you can greatly appreciate how far they came and where they are at today, and how it's just making you feel about hip hop all over again. And even have the stories to back to back these things. Because I'm telling you, shout outs to Del P again. He has an incredible run. He has a very incredible run. And the things that he got going on and he's embarking on, his journey is just beginning. And it's incredible. That's how it should be for artists like that. Because when you enjoy what you love to do, I'm saying when you enjoy it's self-explanatory. When you enjoy what you love to do and you love what you enjoy, other people are going to love it. Other people are going to enjoy it. I know I enjoy it. I try to get myself, into the whole rapping, the skit. But, to each their own. I present art and culture. I can present art and culture in another way. But again, what does hip hop do for you? What does it mean for you? It means a lot. It should mean a lot to you to support independent artists. Period. That's me signing off. Peace and blessings to you all. I'll stand the Rises Creation. Stay tuned. Like and share this video if you like and subscribe. I'll be trying to do maybe every once in a week. I'm going to step it up there. But peace, guys. Love y'all.